Ahead of the Champions League final, BT have been kind enough to invite us down here to have a chat with Glenn Hoddle. And I'm going to ask him, what of the 5 English teams that are in the Champions League next season, what have they got to do in the summer transfer window to close the gap between Juve, Real Madrid and the rest?
I don't think any of them are going to get the top 3 or 4 players in the world coming to them in the summer.
Why do you think that is?
Well, because Ronaldo and Messi are going to play in Spain. Bale probably will stay there as well. Suarez has been and gone. He's not going to come back. So I think, you know, Neymar, there's talk about Neymar possibly. But I think you know, Bayern Munich have got top players there. They're not going to move. And although we've got the hardest and toughest league in the world, I don't think we've got the best.
So kicking off with Chelsea obviously amazing season, 30 wins in the Premier League. They're going to struggle to do that well, especially with Champions League football on its way. How can they get better?
No, the biggest thing for Chelsea for this summer, for me, is not about buying a player. It's about keeping Hazard.
Really?
Yeah, the Hazard. If he goes, then you know that's a problem to Chelsea. But keep Hazard, keep your very top players, and you know they're going to have to add. As I said, that there's not a million of players out there that are top quality, and English players have to spend a lot of money because we've got the money.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're really top players because you spend 30, 40 million on a player nowadays, and that's the downside.
Most of these Premier League giants now that have players from all over the world. Spurs are probably the one that's got that core English feel to it. What do they need to do better than Champions League? Because that was a disaster for them.
Yeah, but that was very poor for them. You know, that is really where they let themselves down. They'll learn from that and they'll come out firing a bit more. They've got to adapt to Wembley, you know, and they'll be adapted when it comes to European games. They'll be adapted already because they've played league games in there.
Are you concerned about that year at Wembley?
No, I'm not. I think you've got to put that behind. I think Pochettino and the group of players. Imagine this, you know, if you turn Wembley into a fortress, 85,000 Spurs fans every week, people are not going to want to go and play there. At the moment, they want to go and play at Wembley. But if the results come and they have 4, 5, 6, 7 games on the trot where they win there, and they make it a fortress, that would be a tough place to go.
Man City finished 3rd. Guardiola had that first season, a hell of a lot of pressure, and you know what it's like to be a manager and have a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
That second season, is that going to be ramped up even more? And do you think are you expecting a lot more from Man City?
Yes, I think everyone expected it. Everyone thought he was going to walk in. I said it was going to be his biggest test in management. This league is not, you know, Barcelona.
Why do you think he's found it so tough?
Well, because he's managed Barcelona and Bayern Munich, who are the biggest teams and the best players he had in those 2 leagues. Simple as that. Man City have got some really good players, but they're not there yet. They're way above anything else in this league. So they've got to work out how they're going to defend in the Premier League, particularly. If anyone's going to bring top players because of the money they've got, it'll be Man City. Yeah.
And then last 2, Man United, Liverpool, biggest teams in England. How do you see Liverpool, and how far do you think they can go? What do they need to do to improve?
Liverpool are a strange team at the moment. They're very exciting, one of the most exciting teams in the league when they're on block. But they've got to find that consistent level. What Chelsea have got, Liverpool got to get closer to that. Man United have come through the back door into the Champions League. They've got a big summer ahead of them. If they buy right, then I think they've got the nucleus of a decent squad. It's got a real depth to his squad, Mourinho, for me. But, you know, we'll wait and see what they bring in.
And so last question, who do you think needs to do the most work in the summer? And secondly, who do you think out of those English teams will do best in the Champions League next year? Go early with your predictions, we're going to have to do it.
I think Chelsea might have the better chance. Yeah, and if they buy well, keep Hazard, as I said. I expect Chelsea to be one of the teams that might get through to quarters, semi-final. Maybe when you get that far, you might get a little bit of luck and go all the way.
So there you have it. That's what Glenn thinks about the 5 teams that are going to be in the Champions League next season. Let us know what your thoughts are on those guys and what they need to do in the summer transfer window in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Most importantly, subscribe to Ball Street.